James is a great babysitter.
And Oliver still has daddy issues as we review and recap all the CW DC TV shows. Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And welcome to DCTV Recap, the recap show where we recap all the CW DC TV shows because they need to be recapped because no one else is recapping them. We're the only ones on the internet.
On the whole internet.
That's right. And you want to stick around until about the end of this video because we're going to reveal the winner of last week's CC Jitter secret coffee menu. So many great entries that's going to be at the end of this video. And also, if you want to skip ahead to your favorite show, time codes are down in the description. But enough of this jibba jabba. Let's head straight into Supergirl.
Supergirl Season 2, Episode 20, City of Lost Children. National City is attacked by a Phorian, a normally peaceful race with telekinetic abilities.
All right, let's talk about the good, and then we're going to talk about the bad, and then we're going to get to our rating and prediction. Ashley, let's start off the episode. What'd you like about City of Lost Children? Did you like the Lost Children? The children were lost?
I don't think there were especially a ton of lost children. There was like Lost Child.
It's like one child. Lost Children is an alien race.
I get the metaphor. I like the title. It is very Star Trek TOS to me. That appeals to me on a number of different levels. Sure. I really like the focal point of this episode, who is Marcus, the actual lost child. I think he was a good little kid actor, and he brought a surprising amount of gravitas to the scenes where he didn't get to speak, and I enjoyed watching him interact with James, giving James a focus and giving him something to do that is not being Guardian. Is really great. And you see that Mehcad Brooks is a good actor. You see the point of the character and how he relates to the show. It's just, it boggles my mind that we're getting this so late in the season because we needed this earlier on.
We only have 2 episodes left.
Yeah, but I think that their relationship was really well executed and really special.
I agree with you. I had that down that I thought that James revealing his face, taking off his Guardian mask and revealing his face to the boy was one of the better moments. And yeah, their relationship was great. Another thing that I liked was the James and, help me out, the computer, Win, the
computer boy. What's his name?
What's the computer boy's name? Their line about in the how James is like, I don't want to scare people anymore, and Win was like, oh, you mean like
Superman's friend?
You mean like Superman's friend?
And then James goes, they're more like frenemies.
They're more like frenemies. Yeah. I really like that. I will say that in this episode as well, Lena Luthor gets a lot of really great scenes.
Yes.
Especially how there was a reveal how she wants to prove herself to be as good as Lex Luthor. And it actually gave, because Lena was so good, it gave Terry Hatcher a lot of good to play against. Where Terry Hatcher would be like, hey, you need to stop living up to your brother, just be you.
Yes, yeah. And I do think we spent a lot of time talking about Lex in this episode.
Yeah.
There's been rumors swirling and people guessing. I don't see how we end Supergirl Season 2 without seeing Lex. When we know...
Well, prepare to get disappointed because we're not going to see him.
Oh, man. I think we're going to see him on a phone because we usually see familiar relationships through technology. Clark was a text message for our chat for a long time. I just think it would be like... We've talked about him so much that just to see him for a minute would be enough.
Here's where you're going to see Lex Luthor on Supergirl. You're going to see him in Episode 1 of Season 3. That's where you're gonna see him. They're gonna save him because they're gonna wanna take the summer to cast him, is what they're gonna do. Because if they cast him, this is going to be an actor that they're gonna wanna use multiple times.
Yeah, they're gonna wanna try that.
And also, this finale's too big because Zod shows up.
And we do know that Superman is coming back, and I thought it would be a nice bookend to get the 2 of them together.
Superman's enemy in the finale is gonna be Zod. This finale's too big for Lex, but again, Lex will show up in Season 1, or Episode 1 of Season 3. That's where we're going to see him.
Yeah. But I like Lena walking the tightrope between villainess and like Supergirl bestie, and she does it really well in this episode.
You talked about James earlier. James actually we got a lot of great character pieces for James in this episode that I'm like, man, we took 2 years to learn this about this guy.
Yeah.
Like, we learned that his camera is based on the photos based on a certain model of camera that took a lot of pictures during the Civil Rights Movement, and he bought it with his first paycheck. And again, I was thinking about that because I was trying to remember, and I was like, man, besides him dating, like, Lucy Lane in the first season, this might be the most character info we've ever learned about James Olsen.
Besides the fact that he used to work at Metropolis, yes, because I do believe that the detail about that particular camera being his father's, is new to this season, and I liked that we saw it and it was damaged, but he still had it.
Yeah,
because we did see it in a previous episode, kind of get stomped on, and it was nice that he didn't just leave it in the street. And again, using that to connect with Marcus and to tell us more about James, and then their scene where Marcus is taking pictures of him was so well done.
Yep.
Give us more.
And then also one of the best shots of the entire episode happened right after that when Marcus powered up, and they did this really awesome shot of him walking out of James' office, sparks going off, and they did a low angle, something that Supergirl really doesn't do, because Supergirl tends to be a show that like keeps an equal plane like right on you, and they don't tend to shift the pan of the angle, or the tilt of the angle, excuse me. So I really like that we went in this like lower power position.
It makes him seem, they might have also done it because he's a smaller statued human being, but it makes him seem truly menacing.
Yeah. What else do you like from this episode?
I like also the reveal and the quandary about what they're going to do when Marcus's entire remaining race shows up, because it is a similar question to what we're going to do with the Kryptonians and everyone from Fort Ross, you know, kind of what Supergirl's been dealing with, but in microcosm, because Wynn and James think they have it under control with their mobile whatever it is thing, and deciding whether or not they're going to stay on this planet after Marcus has told them that they're being left. It's nice to see these two characters that kind of fluctuate on their utility in the show have to make big decisions like that, and ultimately they're in conflict with Jean throughout the episode, and they make the right choice. And it's nice to see them do, like, heroic things that matter.
Yeah.
Like, hooray.
Really quickly, John's story of Mars and his job placement. I love hearing about Mars. Terry Hatcher actually gets a really great phone monologue where she picks up the phone to Kara. And it sounded very Lex Luthor-like, where she was like, Supergirl is righteous. You're like a king. And the answer to all the terror of the world is going to be Supergirl.
You want everyone to love you.
I thought it was really great. Also, Terry Hatcher had some white Martian tech that could put
Which
John
was cool,
Jones. Yeah, like she became a full-on supervillainess in this episode.
Yeah, she became an interesting character in this episode.
Yeah,
it was great.
What else did you take from this episode?
I like that we finally got the device working. I mean, you knew it wasn't gonna.
The Stargate?
Yeah. You knew it wasn't going to stay a failure for that much longer, but it opens up the world, and it opens up, obviously, the possibilities of the finale and how we're going to get Zod in the first place. But see, again, Supergirl thrives on being about family and being alien, and when we get to see alien tech like that is either derived from something in the comics or a direct lift, it's cool to see it, and the effect looked great.
Yeah, and the episode ended where we get 1,000 Daxamites. We learned that 1,000 Daxamites have survived. I called that. And then also, my prediction is that Zod is on one of those ships.
Yeah. The final shot where, and it's probably all CG, where all the ships show up.
It is all CG.
Is really cool. I know you just copy and pasted it, but it looked awesome.
All right, so do you have any other final goods before we move into the bads?
I think we covered just about. We got Miss Tessmacher back, and she's adorable.
Sure.
So that was nice.
Yeah. All right, so let's move into the bads. The first time we see Lena and Supergirl in this episode, they're having a boy band conversation.
Yeah. They try really hard with Supergirl to appeal to women like 15 to 25, and they do that by trying to speak Tumblr language, like OTP, 90s boy band, LOL. And sometimes it's a little too Lisa Frank and a little less the way women actually speak to each other.
Yes.
I think it's like almost there, but it wasn't quite. And it's also weird that Lena would come to Catco.
Well,
like brunch on the veranda.
Well, I didn't mind that because they explained that away that Lena came. They explained that way. My biggest problem is that I don't believe that Lena Luthor was ever into boy band. She's a Luthor. I think she was reading like Popular Mechanics when she was 5.
Yeah.
And she was reading like biographies of Albert Einstein and like Amelia Earhart at 6.
Yeah.
I don't believe that her parents, knowing the Luthors and knowing Lex, ever let her ever listen to a boy band.
I'm also gonna, just to timeline it, Kara's basically the same age that I am.
Whoa, spoilers!
She landed on Earth when she was the equivalent of 12 Earth years.
Sure.
Boy bands were over by then. Boy bands were a product of the 90s. She would have landed on Earth in the early aughts. So, to me...
No, the boy bands hit big in the early 2000s. Like, the heyday of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
Like 96 to 99.
No, you are completely wrong.
Okay, well, as a girl who lived it, I felt like Cara would have landed toward the end of that trend.
Sure.
So I didn't buy her investment in her side of the conversation.
I'm telling you, boy band, the heyday of boy bands is 2000 to 2005. That's the reason why Bye Bye Bye, the NSYNC song, is in X-Men 2, which came out in 2002.
I respectfully disagree with you. As a
Google
young
it.
Girl
I'm right.
time.
That's so you're remembering boy bands. 95 to like 99 is like 311 and like Dave
I had
Matthews
a Backstreet Boys T-shirt in 1996. Okay.
But I'm telling you that Bye 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 is the heyday of boy bands, and that's like 2002.
That song sucks.
So
it doesn't
whatever.
Matter.
There you go.
I just thought it was a weird cultural thing that I don't think Cara would have grasped when she landed.
I don't care when the heyday of boy bands is. I can't believe we derailed the video to talk about boy bands. Let's talk about Guardian just breaking and entering during the scene. He just like opens the door and walks into Marcus's house.
Let's just put that in the good column. We basically established that Guardian is gonna be done with because James likes being a public figure, and that is good. No more Guardian.
Another thing I have is this is like we get like the 5th or 6th instance of Alex eating junk food and nothing but junk food. She
burgers, yeah.
She sure eats a lot of junk food in this show, and it's kind of concerning me.
I think it's supposed to be a move toward like body positivity and showing characters that eat junk food, but when you have an actress who is as
fit,
as slim as Kyler Lee is, who obviously watches her diet very carefully, there's a disconnect, even if you're not the same person.
I thought this was one of Mon-El's worst episodes of the entire season.
Ooh, that's saying something.
Well, they didn't give him a lot of funny to do this episode.
Yeah.
And that actor can definitely...
He's better funny.
He can handle the funny. So he learns that his mom is alive, and he's talking to his mom, and he's giving line readings that are so breathy that they come off as weak and childish. And it tells me that either one, he had no rehearsal time to figure out how to say that line, or two, he had no idea how to put the weight behind that line to make that line work, because he was giving line readings like, "What have you done, mother?" Like, that was his line reading in several lines.
He also does a thing when he's speaking to his parents or to any Daxamites where he kind of lowers his voice, like, I am a prince and I talk in my throat.
Yep. And then he also did in this episode, he did the trope that Katie Cassidy did a lot in Arrow Season 3, where you would just close your eyes, grasp in really tight, no tears ever appear, but we're supposed to believe that you're crying because you're going... And he did that.
That's also on the director a little bit. If that's your best take, it's not a good take.
It was not a good take.
And if your actor can't cry, then don't have them fake cry. At least cover your eyes.
Yeah, well, again, yeah, a lot of that might be in the actor, but like, again, these are supposed to be power moments for Mon-El. This is him confronting his mom, and they just fell completely.
Yeah, they're not great,
flat.
yeah.
And then a negative, the Daxamites are here. So the ending of Supergirl Season 2 is...
more Kryptonians!
Yeah, oh, great. Just like Season 1, we're fighting more Kryptonians.
I think CW shows tend to do the same kind of endings. They tend to do the same kind of arcs across the season.
Flash has always fought a speedster.
We talked about it on Flash. We talked about it on Arrow. Flash tends to kill people. Arrow every once in a while will kill people. You know, they're I can't think of the word, but like they're pre-programmed. You know, they hit these certain beats.
They have a formula.
Exactly. I also think that this is symptomatic of Supergirl being on the CW for the first time.
Yes.
So even though we have told the story already, there are some similar people working on the show. This is basically a Season 1 redo.
Yeah.
And that's what the ending feels like.
Sure.
Unfortunately.
Sure. 100%. All right, let's head straight into the rating based on a scale of 1 to 5 Saran Wrap S-Shields. Ashley, what would you give this episode that I forget what it's called? Lost Children.
City of Lost Children.
Yep.
I actually think the A and B plot of City of Lost Children are pretty great. Like
I think there was only an A and a B plot. What was the C plot?
Well, okay, but so the B plot falls apart a little bit when Mother Mon-El, I'm never going to learn her name.
B plot is Terry Hatcher. A plot is the kids.
Yeah, the kids and the aliens with Jimmy are great. Lena and Mrs. Mon-El are great until they get on the phone with Mon-El. So I think it was a really good episode of Supergirl that mostly dealt with James. And if this kills the Guardian identity,
I hope it
I'm
does.
so much prouder than I'm actually going to give it 4. I thought it was a really good episode.
Okay.
I bumped it up for the adorable child actor. How about you?
I thought this was a just fine episode of Supergirl. I agree with you. James, this is probably James's strongest episode of the entire series.
Ever.
The Mon-El stuff does knock it down. Daxamite showing up does knock it down. But most of the episode was a lot of fun. So I'm going to give it a 3.
I think that's fair.
This is not a great episode of Supergirl, but this is not a terrible episode of Supergirl. And again, like, man, I hope this is the route they go. Like, again, you're right. They're trying to figure out how to make this a CW show and not a CBS show, and sometimes they stumble with that.
But I think they've been more effective this season, and I think when it's been good, it has been so good.
All right, Ashley, based on this episode, what is your prediction for the future of Supergirl?
My prediction for the future of Supergirl is that now that James is making a big step toward his human persona, I think he is going to become the new face of Catco.
He already is the new face of Catco.
But we don't see him as a figurehead as much as we saw Cat. Like, we don't see him being on camera. We don't see him being on the cover of the magazine. I think he is going to step up into the realm of being a public recognized figure, and I think he's going to become the spokesperson for Supergirl.
That's very interesting, especially since we know that Cat Grant is coming back for the finale.
She ain't sticking around.
No. I know, but it's interesting that she'll be in that episode, so it's very interesting.
Maybe she'll bequeath it to him. She'll cut the ribbon and...
Well, he's already the boss, so I don't know what else more she could bequeath. So.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think is coming down the line for Supergirl?
I think Mon-El, before he gets sucked into the Phantom Zone, because that's going to happen, is going to kill his mother.
I hope so.
I think Mon-El will kill his mother to pay back for killing Daddy. And the finale will all be about reversing the portal and sucking the crypto. Very Man of Steel-like, where they reverse the polarity and suck all the certain metals back in. And of course, it's going to try to suck Kara in because she's a Kryptonian. And Mon-El will sacrifice himself, and he'll be sucked in, so she won't.
So he can go to the future.
Yes, so he'll be stuck in the Phantom Zone. That's exactly what's going to happen. All right, enough Supergirl. Let's talk about Flash.
The Flash, Season 3, Episode 21, Cause and Effect. Barry takes desperate measures to stop Savitar, where HR keeps pressuring Tracy Brand to set a trap for Savitar, and Killer Frost has an interesting proposal.
Last week, we asked you guys out there, we found out about the biggest revelation that Central City has brought to our attention, that CC Jitters has a secret menu, and we asked you out there on the internet, you guys out there, to make the secret drinks, a piece of artwork, and here's what you came up with. And there were so many good entries, we could only pick one as the winner, and the winner is at Anne Fernie for this Kid Flash with cocoa powder on top, excuse me. I thought it looked so good.
It looked like Wally.
It looks like Wally. It made me laugh. Anne Fernie, you are the winner. Go to YouTube and message me. Message me on YouTube, give me your address, and I will send you the Batman Rebirth issues. All the rest of your entries, I had so much fun on Twitter after this. It was a good time.
I lived for it, especially the next day. It was amazing.
It was a good time. Speaking of living for things, let's talk about Oliver Queen living for Star City. Let's talk about Arrow.
Arrow, Season 5, Episode 21, Honor Thy Fathers. Oliver faces the forced release of criminals prosecuted by Adrian Chase, while a crate is delivered to Oliver's office containing a corpse in concrete.
All right, we're going to talk about the good, we're going to talk about the bad, then we're going to get to some ratings and predictions, just like we always do. You guys know what it is. Come on, babies. All right, let's start off with the good. I got to talk about the opening scene here. This is where Oliver walks in and he meets up with Lance, and we find out that, like, a lot of the villains from Chase's time as DA are being released, rightfully so.
Surprising no one. This is a big Batman trope.
And I love Lance's, like, there's 36 villains on the street now, Oliver. The police are running ragged. And then Oliver gets upstairs. He finds that there's a bomb in his office. And, like, one of the guys is like, sir, I can't let you into your office. And then Oliver goes, then resign, and walks right back.
It's totally badass. And then he gets into the office, and there's another guy there who's like, we should call the bomb squad. And I don't even know what he says, but he just jacks it open.
And the guy jumps. The guy's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and Lance is just like, don't worry, he
was a bomb diffuser in a past life.
He was a bomb specialist in a previous life.
Yeah. It was great. It shows a lot about Oliver's character, and I like when the Green Arrow bleeds through.
I do too.
In Ollie's day-to-day
There's been
life.
a couple times this season where like the Green Arrow has shown up as Mayor Queen.
Well, like when they were attacked and he saved everyone.
Yeah. He's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I really like. What'd you like from this episode?
I really liked a lot of the softer scenes. Actually, there is the B plot that deals a lot with Lance and Renee. We've watched their relationship really grow in like a really lovely father-son kind of way.
He calls me Hosh.
I could do without that. Note to the Arrow writers, just no more hosses.
It's a Bonanza reference.
Whatever. I don't care. Just no more of it. Or keep it to one character. He calls Terrific Hoss too. It's awful. Their relationship is wonderful. Watching Lance plead with Renee to not make the same mistakes that he made with his daughters is really... Paul Blackthorne's tremendous. And those scenes they're tearjerker scenes. And you think Renee's going to do the right thing, and then maybe...
We'll get to that.
He doesn't. But all of their scenes together, I think, were highlights of the episode.
Yes. I agree with you. There were a lot of great soft moments in this episode. There were a lot of great like one-liners in this episode.
Yeah.
There was also I like the idea. There was a lot of twists and turns in this episode. I like the idea that underneath the body they found the DNA of Robert Queen, so he immediately became a suspect.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then let's go to the island. Anatoly and Oliver arrive at the island.
Always good.
They have a nice scene where they talk about the Deathstroke mask being a bad omen, and then we learn why it was
placed the way it was.
Placed in the island. Oliver showing Anatoly the graves.
Yeah.
Getting to see Shadow, getting to see all this stuff like that. These nice little connections to season 1, and then learning that Anatoly is responsible for the boat coming there. Like, that's interesting. That is very interesting. And again, it makes it a thing. Like, oh, so it has to be a fake beard because...
It is. They basically tell us
it has to be a fake beard because if he's going to be picked up in 2 days...
Yeah.
2 episodes left. There you go.
But I also like any scene where we get to see them being brothers, and there is a direct, and it totally says, "You'll always be my brother,"
which we know is not true now.
Yeah, but I like a callback to that, and I like seeing those two characters and how much they mean to each other. It makes the present day stuff that much sadder, I think.
Yes, I also liked Lance got a really good line in one of the Renee scenes where Renee walks in and goes, "Oh, I have a court date," and Lance goes, "Oh, so you got a court date? So you're finally going to be prosecuted. Good."
Yeah. I mean, Renee's a straight up punk. There's good stuff underneath, but he's a punk.
That line made me laugh out loud.
It did. It's true.
What else did you like from this episode?
I really liked seeing Mr. Terrific in a position of leadership again. Diggle is really the point man on this, but seeing him of the 3 recruits be the most capable, as he should be, is always tremendous to me. He also gets a lot of really nice moments where he geeks out with Felicity, and I don't know if you can really geek out about Witness. It's not really a geeky movie, but I'll give it to you. But there's that, and then there's a thing, I can't remember exactly what it's in reference to, but they're talking about technology, and they both realize what they're talking about, and then they go off to, like, do the thing together. And in the wake of Felicity's...
They nerd squad together.
Nonsense in the previous 3 seasons, it's really nice to ground her back into that personality and have her and Curtis really... work together, like be the nerds together. It's so great. And if that's a turning point for her now, I'm really into that.
Yeah.
How about you?
I really like this scene that Oliver got a really good scene with Felicity in this episode where he's watching the video and he's watching it and he says, how did I miss this about my father, that he's a murderer? And then he talks about that everything of his crusade began with his father, which is totally true because it was all about the list in season 1. And Felicity's saying that, look, you need to stop living your life for this man. You need to live your life for you. You have definitely fulfilled your father's promise. You have saved the city because my life is better because the Green Arrow exists. And she said it, and I believed it. Yes. Whereas, like, there's sometimes where she says, I love you, and I don't buy it. Yes. But that was a really tender moment between 2 characters who cared about each other. It was a nice scene. Yep. It harkened back to season 1. Kind of gave us a nice little full circle moment again. And also, it really helped when the next scene, He suited up as the Green Arrow. And I was like, you know what?
Finally.
I was like, you know what? After Felicity's statement, I buy it.
He deserves it, yeah.
I buy why you put that suit on. And if they hadn't have put that suit on at that moment, it would have been like, you're stretching it too far.
I agree. And the reveal of like Mr. Terrific and Spartan, when they turn and they see him and they're like, oh yeah, like we're so, like, that was great. It was
also nice that they went back to Palmer Tech, which was originally Queen Industries, which we haven't seen for
the Robert Queen Library of
was the science wing or whatever, but it's Palmer Tech.
Yes, it says that on the side.
Yeah, and it's which we haven't seen for this entire season almost.
We haven't seen it basically since Ray went to time.
Legends almost. Yeah.
Back in time.
What'd you dig?
I want to shout out the Arrow fight team.
Oh, yeah.
I love you. You're perfect.
I was about to bring that up.
I never change. There is a close quarters fight in a stairwell.
In a real stairwell.
It's amazing. It's so fast. It's so precise. It's brutal. There's a great throw of Oliver down the stairs.
I was going to bring that up because I want to, again, shout out the stunt team because one of their stunt people
it's probably the same guy.
Takes a dive down at least 10 steps, and you're like, and you know there was a pad down there.
Oh, and he's got like turtle armor on, but it still hurt. Let's be clear.
It's a pretty good throw. It's a pretty good throw. Yeah.
Little, there are larger fights that go on, but like that little piece and those characters, like it was beautiful. Never change our fight team.
I want to bring up Curtis on the rooftop saving the day. And Diggle's like, how are we doing? And he's like, we're terrific. I've been waiting to say that.
That was so good. And again, that's another moment where like he's the character now who's charged with bringing humor to the show since Felicity's become a sad sack. And it really works on him. It really does,
I also liked that this was about the legacy of the father of Prometheus. That Oliver found out this information that he was going to disown Adrian. And he's like, you honor the memory of a man who was ashamed of you. And he's like, at least my daddy loved me. Basically, nah is the subtext of that. But
you know what? If you're gonna defeat a character with words, which is something that superheroes like to lean on, because it feels more intellectual than just punching a guy into submission. It's tough to make it work at the best of times.
Yeah. And
I thought it was really well executed there, and I like the idea that it affects Adrian in this very samurai way, and he's like, I'm done. Like,
finish me,
kill me.
Finish me.
I cannot. I thought he was gonna Harry carry himself for a minute.
I did too.
I'm glad they didn't, but I have mixed feelings about that end scene. But I thought that the moment where he like broke was handled really, really well.
Kovar on the island surprised me.
I don't know why he's there, but I'm up for more Kovar.
I'm down for it. And then Robert Queen's message to Thea I thought was really good. But I wanted to say, Robert Queen, I love you as an actor. I can't remember your name. You were Randall Flagg back in that ABC miniseries The Stand. Go look it up. Google it. The one with Gary Sinise. Is Thea really going to grow up to be remarkable? Like, she showed up in this episode and was like, oh, I don't miss you.
Jamie Sheridan.
Yeah,
Thea's in my bad column.
But I thought the message itself and the actor in his performance was good.
Yes, he's always great when he shows up on the
show. All right,
show.
Let's move into bad. I don't have many bads.
I don't either.
So let's just go through it. And my bads are very nitpicky because I actually really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Thea's back for no reason whatsoever.
Go.
Then that's all I'm going to say about that. So
I thought the actor who played Claiborne's lawyer, the last man to see the murder victim, was very skittish, and I don't know what he was doing with his performance there. It was a little weird.
Yeah.
It was a little. It is a little convenient that there's a security camera over the exact vat, Joker-like vat.
That's what that happened, and I said, like, oh, is he the Joker?
Well, I don't know. It's weird that there's a camera there. I'll give it to you because of the story. It's a little weird.
It's there for narrative purposes.
Anything else?
So I kind of liked. I liked seeing Adrian in jail. Like, that's very satisfying. In the most yellow of all yellow jumpsuits, they put them in orange jumpsuits. Why does he have a big screen TV that's bigger than my TV while he's in jail?
So he can hear the speech to Stu.
I get it. But also, they did this thing, which is the same thing that Sherlock did with Moriarty, which is the same thing that Skyfall did with Silva.
The same thing that Loki did in the Avengers.
Where they got the arms crossed, and they have a tight, closed-lipped smirk, and I just... Please don't make it that he got captured on purpose.
He did.
Because that trope sucks.
He did.
Because nobody does that because it sucks. And so the implication of what that might mean for next week's episode, I'm not super pleased with.
Very quickly, I have one other thing, but very quickly, I want to talk about Adrian Chase as well. I put the Adrian Chase gives up in the bad and the good. Because I agree. Because I thought it was too easy.
It is.
But
it is.
If he did it for his plan, then that explains it. Yeah. And I agree with you. He wanted to get caught.
Yeah.
That's the reason why he's going in. My last bad thing is that so I really thought we were going to move Renee forward with this episode.
Oh, I agree. I'm so glad you brought that up.
And Renee giving up on her daughter because it's a hearing, and then Renee doesn't show up to the hearing. It just immediately be like, dude, I'm finally starting to like you as a character and actually start to love you as a character, and now you immediately make me think you're an asshole.
It makes him a deadbeat dad.
He's a deadbeat dad.
And there are enough real deadbeat dads in the world that
Lance is a deadbeat dad who has redeemed himself.
Right. We could have some great fictional... And Arrow... has some great fathers in it. Yeah. And this whole episode deals with, if we would have had one little mention of John and baby John, it would have been completely perfect.
Not enough time.
But yeah, having him be a deadbeat is tough because he is a character that I took a long time to turn around on as well. Mm-hmm. And you've cut him off at the knees again.
My thing is I have a feeling we're going to turn around on this.
In 2 episodes?
No. In the next episode, because I guarantee you that finale is going to be so packed, they're not going to have time to deal with it. That finale is going to deal all with the island and nothing else.
I hope so. That little girl looked really sad.
I think they're going to turn around. I think they wanted to do it because I think they were trying to set up, again, the father failing a daughter, just like they're trying to do with Thea.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It fell flat with Renee for me.
We needed a good parental moment, and that would have been the time to have it happen.
All right, let's move into the rating based on a scale of 1 to 5. Throws down a stare. Ashley, 5 being the best and the most hurtful. Ashley, what would you give this episode of Arrow called Honor Thy Father, Sins of the Father?
Honor Thy Father.
Honor Thy Father.
I think this was a great episode of Arrow. And since we don't do halves, I'm going to give it 5. I thought it was a really great episode.
Would you have given it a 5.5?
I would have given it a 4.5.
Oh, blasphemy.
I'm going to give it 4.5 for Thea. Yeah, I thought it was a great episode. But how about you?
I thought this episode gave us a connection to the island. This episode gave us a reveal on something that we've been waiting for since the pilot, why that thing was there. I thought this had some amazing moments. Any episode where you get to see Robert Queen, I automatically bump up a point because that is the relationship that started this show. That is the most important relationship in this entire show. Oliver and his father. It kind of seems like, and I hope so, that season 5 is going to put that to bed so that now he can be his own man. No doubt, in my mind, 5.
Whoa. Go
right in your face.
Excited.
Hope somebody's watching this 3D. It's not possible.
I didn't know we had a 3D camera. This is so exciting.
We don't. 5 out of 5. Yeah. This is a great episode of Arrow. Arrow is continuing its streak. We have 2 episodes left. And by the way, I just want to throw this out there. I tweeted at Mark Guggenheim saying that I thought this season of Arrow was stellar, and he told me he told me on Twitter. He replied, which I thought was very nice of him. He said that he was really proud of what they did in the last 2 episodes, and he hoped that I enjoyed them as well. And based on this episode, I think he's going to be right.
I think so, too. And I'm like you. Arrow's my favorite of the DC TV shows, and it's so nice to see it back, like, in peak condition.
It's so great to see the progenitor of the,
what a great word.
Of the CW DC TV show standing tall again.
Yeah.
To me, it's kind of like the thing. It's like when Arrow's good, they're mostly all good.
I would agree.
Yeah, like they all set their examples off of Arrow. All right, let's go into our predictions. 2 episodes left, Ashley. What do you think's coming in the future?
I think that we are going to see Adrian Chase breaking out of his stupid Harley Quinn in the middle of the jail cell. And I think he is going to kidnap a member of Team Arrow and use them to draw Oliver out. And I think that's actually going to be Thea, because I think that we're going to see Thea agree to suit up again just in time to be captured, because we know Willa Holland doesn't do all her own stunts anyway. So I think that he is going to try to use Oliver's last remaining familial relationship against him in the final episodes of the season.
Nice.
How about you? What do you think is coming down the pipe for Arrow?
I think this is all a coordinated plan. I think he did mean to get caught. Or if he didn't mean to get caught, what is going to happen, and actually I prefer this, is that Talia is going to be pissed and send her version of the League of Assassins to start damaging or kidnapping Team Arrow. And what I think is going to happen is that Talia is going to start kidnapping various members of Team Arrow.
Oh, that'd be cool.
In order to force Oliver to give up Adrian. Oliver will not give up Adrian. But Oliver will be like, look, I'm willing to sacrifice almost everyone on my team with the exception of my son. And when he comes down to his son, because his son is still missing, we know that Adrian has his son.
Somewhere.
I think Talia now has his son.
That's the leverage he's going to use to get out.
No. His son being captured is the leverage that Oliver is going to use to go to Lian Yu and convince Mr. Slade Wilson, another father, to help him. This is why Deathstroke will help Oliver for his son, because Slade has Joey. That is the appeal that Oliver will use, and that is why Deathstroke will team up with him against Prometheus.
I don't like Oliver's son.
So there you go.
Just kill him.
That is because otherwise Slade would kill him immediately.
Yeah.
This is how
That's a good theory.
This is how Slade won't kill him for Joey.
Yeah.
And then Deathstroke will get loose.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Cool.
So let us know down in the comments which show was your favorite this week, and then hit subscribe.
And why not click on one of the videos that's popped up on the screen? And for more exclusive geeky content, go to patreon.com/Jawiin.
We'll see you next week for more talking about Arrow, because it's gonna be awesome.